Hey guys, before we get started with our second part to our Obi-Wan series, if you haven't listened to the first part, go check that out because you're coming in like halfway through a series that we didn't come into till like almost 3 months till after it aired. So
yeah, if you haven't watched it by now, come on, man. Even we got to it.
Even we got to it. But yeah, we're starting with episodes 3, 4, 4, 5, and 6. I can't count tonight, but before we talk about all that stuff, we got to do the standard business. You hit us up on our social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at LaunchpadPod, and our website, launchpadpod.com. Watch us on YouTube. You can see our special guest, see him in his we're all wearing cosplay except for me. Well, maybe I
like these. We're all wearing cosplay except 33% of us.
But it's because it's you, like they wouldn't know. They'd be like, come check out the YouTube and be like, wait a second, he lied to us.
He's not costume or playing.
That's right. That tag again is Launchpad Pod on all the socials. Hit like and subscribe. Tell your friends about us. It's spooky season. We love hearing from you guys what creepy stuff you're watching. We're going to get into some of that in later episodes this month. But without further ado, let's get on with the second part of the Obi-Wan series.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
All right. Welcome to the Launchpad Podcast. I'm Aaron.
I'm Matt.
Matt, we're diving right in. We got a guest, it's Kyle Akahoshi in the house, our Star Wars expert. Welcome, Kyle. Welcome back.
Hello there.
Hello there.
I was waiting for one of you two idiots to do
it. What's up, guys?
Doing good, man. Thank you for coming back, man. The first one's really fun.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Where do we start? I think we need a little recap. Kyle,
according to you, we started episode 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 12. And just to blow you guys up, we always tell you to watch, or to blow Aaron up, we always tell you guys to watch YouTube because any little snips and stuff that you end up not hearing on the podcast show, if you watch the YouTube, you usually see all those flubs and all that, like me and Aaron being like, wait, should we talk about that? Okay. It has been a shit show since we started. Like, we just started this episode. We're recording for a couple minutes now, but there's a couple minutes where the three of us were planning and talking about, how we're going to. Aaron and I's microphones weren't turned on correctly, and
everything's broken.
Yeah, it's Amanda, my wife Amanda, watches true crime stuff and she watches makeup tutorials, and I always comment on how all the time the girls are like, hey guys, just so you know, my microphone's not working, so I sound pretty crappy today. And they always talk like, that's how they launch into everything. Is like, hey guys, my dog's barking, so just ignore him. It's like, that's like we're journalists kind of, and we're being like, okay, thanks for coming. Let me tell you what's wrong with our shit now. Give me a pass for it, and now enjoy the rest of this dog barking, microphone broken nonsense.
Hey guys, and I can't count today, and my microphone's broken, and I'm not even in my house.
Hey guys, the most important piece of equipment for a podcaster is not turned on, but it's not just my fault because my partner also didn't do it. But don't blame us. We've only done hundreds of episodes over the course of like 5 or 6 years. So smash that like and subscribe button.
Hey, you two are the pros at this. I'm just the guest.
You're the only one who hasn't fucked shit up so far. We've been recording for 4 minutes. All right, so we're talking about Star Trek. Let's get going.
Oh no, I thought this was Lost in Space. No,
we are definitely lost. Am
I not here? Am I on the wrong podcast? Oh man.
So where did we leave off? What happened the last time? Where did we end? Give us the recap, Kyle. Where are our heroes?
So we left off last time with Leia getting kidnapped by Reva, which is the oldest trick in the book. Send her off on the tunnel by herself.
Yeah.
Try to meet up with somebody she has never met before, and that's that. So then after that, it was Obi-Wan getting rescued by Ned B and Tala after Darth Vader just raked them through the coals, and that was the pretty cool scene. So, and then, we wake up to Obi-Wan in the bacta tank.
Yeah, and it mirrors kind of the Darth Vader moment that we saw Darth Vader wake up in the bacta tank. So it's kind of cool. It's a cool callback. He literally got raked through the coals. He's all burned up. They're trying to heal him. And he gets up. He's like, hey, where's that kid you were supposed to help get off the planet? And they're like, It's like, oh, shit.
Okay. Star Wars, I have to say, Star Wars is not very good at the whole parenting thing. So I think that's why it's called that. And that's why Luke and Leia are all, they don't know who their dad is and A New Hope and all that. So, yeah.
Now, this episode was one of my favorites for, like, high tension. I mean, a child basically gets tortured and, the excitement of it. It was also the silliest to me for this very reason.
Are you talking about episode 4 now?
Yes.
The new. No, I was being serious. The episode we're about to start to talk to.
The one we're talking about, part 4. I loved it, but it was also super silly. And it was super silly for this reason to me. You're writers on a Star Wars show. And you're like, God, you're banging your head against the wall. You're like, Leia's kidnapped. Obi-Wan's trying to figure it out. How are we going to figure, how do we do this? And like, I have this great idea. I got it. Guys, I got it. They dress up as Imperials and sneak into the fortress. And everybody's like, we've never done that before. This is brilliant. Like, where was the person who says, excuse me, guys, we've literally done this like 4 or 5 times throughout the franchise's history. Yeah. In fact, this is the first time we ever met Leia. She was stuck on a base and they had to dress up as Imperials and sneak in. And they're like,
we've already done it in this show.
Who's seen that shit? We don't need that. It's like, that's their one trick. Star Wars is so stuck on a dress up as the bad guy and sneak in. And they're like, yeah, but how ridiculous can we look while we dress up and getting it? It's like, short for a stormtrooper, or like wear a giant flasher coat while like looking like 3 kids are stacked up inside. Like, they're like, hey, are you an Imperial? Or are you like 4 Padawans stacked on top of each other? Because literally no one else in this secret base is wearing a giant trench coat. Like, everybody else is like, it's like, when did the trench coat is not a fashion statement of the Imperials. So it's like, I don't know, that just goofed me out the whole time. I was like, really? But then like Obi-Wan's trying to convince these people like, hey, can we go help save that kid I was supposed to take care of? And they're like, fuck no. Like, that's no, we're not doing that. Okay, where is she? Secret impenetrable base right next to Darth Vader's house. No, we're not doing that. And like, okay, but like
the Darth Vader's.
Her dad's really important. How important? Bail Organa? Shit. All right. We'll help you a little bit. They didn't take that much convincing. I think I did more convincing than Obi-Wan did. They're like, little girl in impenetrable fortress. Oh, let's Star Wars this shit. I saw this movie once and like, yeah. I'm like, at no point. We need to have a retroactive like remake of A New Hope where Obi-Wan's like, I have the strangest sense of deja vu.
I feel like the rebellion and surrounding good guys are lucky that the Empire is racist and only hires humans and Carillions. Because if they had more aliens in those costumes, the good guys wouldn't be able to get a costume that fit, right?
Yep.
Like, imagine if they had like a costume that had extra arms or the head was in the wrong spot. Like, you'd be like, oh, fuck. Like, what are you going to do? I also want to see a scene where Chewie and Han are sneaking around and they hide behind something. They're like, we need to get those stormtroopers' armor. And the reverse shot of the stormtroopers walking by, I'd be like, what was that? I don't know. Maybe it's another drill. And they grab them and pull them behind. And then you see their fists. and then and then Chewie comes out adjusting the uniform,
fur sticking out all the wrong places.
But like just like if you're like
Matt is demonstrating the cartoon beat 'em up.
Yeah, visual bit on the YouTube. Go check it out.
Yep. Off screen take.
So also the Empire by the end of Return of the Jedi, we have to be in this space where you're like, I mean, after Revenge of the Jedi, it's like, guys, we keep building bases that have very simple defects in them, and we really are lax in security. Like, people literally are walking in the front door and walking out again. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Also, you just said Revenge of the Jedi.
Revenge.
Did you hear him say that, Kyle?
Yes.
I was gonna let it go,
Revenge
but I feel like it would be very remiss if we didn't call that out. Like, forget being a podcaster whose microphone is not turned on correctly. You just said Revenge of the Jedi.
Isn't that one of the later, like, fucking Rey and
The Rise of Skywalker,
BB-8,
The Last Jedi, and Force
Awakens?
Whatever. Revenge of the Jedi was the name of Return of the Jedi before it was ever called Return.
There you go.
See,
I can't call something that is not called.
At least it was a Star Wars thing. At least I wasn't like, at the end of Wrath of Khan, they all just showed up.
Do you ever call your daughter by the boy name that you didn't give her because she came out a girl?
That's why we named her Sammy. So I'd be like, Sam, stop it. Sam, stop it. Yeah.
No, like, just to Aaron's point, like, yeah, how easy was it for Talon to get in because she has officer clearance, and the guy was so scared because she said, dude, would you like to take this up to the Grand Inquisitor? And he's like, oh no, you're clear. Go ahead. Even though your name is red on the screen, you can't get through, but no, just go through. And then she lets Obi-Wan in through a vent in the water, up through a water pipe, and just like that, he's inside.
Yeah,
if you see something, say something.
She could have gone that same way and still snuck inside, and then like done a James Bond where like she peels off like the wetsuit and she's in the armor and puts on the hat. Like, that would have been cool too. And yeah, you wouldn't have the guy who'd been like, "You want me to take her to the Grand Inquisitor?" And she'd be like, "No." And he's like he should have just done it. And then she sneaks in while he's off doing that shit. Like yeah, the fact that you can just easily be like, although I try to park in the places I'm not supposed to park in crew parking all the time, and the parking enforcer's like, "Hey, are you supposed to park there?" And I'm like, "I'm a producer," and I walk away. So it works.
There you go.
It immediately makes them go, "Oh, I'm not."
Like, why was that producer wearing a child's t-shirt?
Halloween 3 is a dope movie, though. But the sneaking around is really cool. I like the sneaking around, and I like the tension that they built with it. Just the whole concept of it is like, oh my God, Star Wars. Rip off a different movie that isn't your own franchise. That isn't your seminal feature film where we met Leia in the first place. Like, come on. But anyway, Leia is getting tortured. She's getting hard interrogated by Reva, which is like, damn, she's a kid, man. And then she's like, well, you're not going to talk to us. Guess we'll go to the hard torture. And I'm like, fuck. Show didn't come to play.
Did you notice that she was getting interrogated the same way? Okay, so first she was getting interrogated the same way that Kylo Ren was interrogating Rey through forced mind bending, and she wouldn't give that up. Then when Reva got pissed off and was like, all right, well, then we're going to do it the hard way, she is getting tortured almost the same way as that Han Solo was when Darth Vader was doing it in Empire Strikes Back, right before he gives them up to Boba Fett to be carbonated.
They didn't even ask me any questions.
Yeah.
Nope.
Just gave him some hot pops.
Yeah, that was pretty gnarly because like you're like, man, this show's really going for it. And she was scared. Like, that was freaky deaky. I thought it was interesting though. So you have, is Leia not Force awakened yet? like would Reva, do you guys think that Reva would be able to tell that she's Force sensitive?
I don't think she was Force sensitive then, is my vote.
Well, was she Force sensitive? Because she was able to predict some things about her cousin. You remember that episode where she kind of the snooty cousin that came to Alderaan,
the party.
Was talking about lower life forms, and she was like, "Well, I shouldn't be talking to you then because you're a lower life form." But then she started reading off things that maybe he only knew, but she knew somehow. So I don't know. Maybe she might have a little bit of force sensitivity, but she doesn't know that it's called the force. So
I think she literally needed force sensitivity to be mansplained to her in Revenge of the Jedi. When Luke was like, it runs strong in my family. Wink, wink. She's like, oh yeah, I've always known. And he's like, fuck you. You kissed me. She's like, that's when I knew the most.
She knew what she was doing when she kissed Luke.
I
was
know.
just doing it
Somehow
to make my boyfriend jealous.
Yeah.
That doesn't make it better. It doesn't make it better.
Let me make my boyfriend jealous by kissing my brother. Wait, what?
Wait, what?
That's an interesting point though. Like to take it seriously, I like the idea that in the post-Jedi society, right? Jedi are almost like not mythical, but they're a relic, right? You don't see Jedi around. So some of the teachings may have been lost. Specifically, the Empire is trying to quash that, right? So you have the universal government is trying to put that shit aside. Someone like Leia, before meeting Obi-Wan, what does she know about the Force, right? Like, what's the average person? I guess it's not that far. This movie or this TV show is not that far away from Revenge of the Sith, I guess, right? It's a matter of years. Even if it's 10 years, it's not that much time. But I guess where would you know the Force from? If you're Leia, you're young, you were born on a planet that, is thriving and everything like that, but it's not known for its Force sensitivity. There's no people training or nurturing or looking out for that. And if anything, Bale probably would have tried to hide that shit, right? If he noticed anything with her. So I think that's pretty interesting that it's almost like X-Men type stuff where you notice that you have abilities eventually, but you didn't realize it,
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. I mean, that Alderaan's a planet of just government, it seems like. So it's why would they have any Force wielders there? Why would they have any Jedi there? There would be no point. So in order to probably disguise Leia and, keep the secret that she was Anakin Skywalker's, one of Anakin Skywalker's kids, a secret, you would definitely want to hide the fact that she might have been Force sensitive, but any inclination of that, you would want to hide that so Darth would never know. So, I
think it's a pretty cool way to think about it, like to explain that, I guess.
Yeah.
I also, it makes me wonder now, like in the original trilogy, how is Leia introduced to like the Force in general? Like now that she's seen it as a child, potentially, I met Obi-Wan. He was Force sensitive and he caught me falling off a roof and told me some shit about the Force. Like, I'm trying to remember. I'm going to have to rewatch them all now. Does she seem surprised by any of that? Or is she just like, Obi-Wan's a Jedi and I know what that is?
You know what? I think we didn't find out that she knew about the Force until I think the Rise of Skywalker, the last one of the final trilogy, when there's a flashback with her and Luke lightsaber practicing, training each other. And that's when you kind of figure out that, oh shit, Leia was always Force sensitive because she's wielding a lightsaber and practicing with Luke. But that was, I think, the first scene that I think I remember that.
And that would have been after Jedi, right? After Return of the Jedi?
After Return of the Jedi, then The Force Awakens, then The Last Jedi, then The Rise of Skywalker.
Because she knows Obi-Wan, right? She reaches out to Obi-Wan for help in A New Hope. Then the boys save her, and there's no Force shit for there. They run to the Millennium Falcon, and they see Obi-Wan dueling with Darth Vader. He gets killed and she just gets on the Falcon. She's not really worried about it. He literally came to save her and she didn't care that he got killed. She gets on the plane and she's like, oh, Luke's like, this teacher I just met died. She's like, sorry.
She's like,
My
he
planet
saved
just
me.
blew up.
He's saved me like multiple times. It's total. I mean, this
is like, don't worry
is par
about
for
it.
the course. Yeah.
But then,
well, that's the one thing that I didn't get about the bridging between this show and what you just talked about was how did Leia in the New Hope just not know that was Obi-Wan, even though his name was Ben Kenobi? It's like the same last name.
right.
Just with a different first name.
Why did she have to reach out that way? Why shouldn't you can just fucking call him?
Exactly.
Same plan and everything. But no, she doesn't see the Force the rest of that movie, right? Luke blows up the Death Star, but she doesn't know that he was Force assisted. In Empire, she doesn't see anything Force happen, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. No, she doesn't see anything. No. Well, she sees Darth Vader catch blaster bolts and pull Han Solo's gun away, I guess. But at that point, I feel like she knows Darth Vader.
Everybody knows that Darth Vader is a wizard. Yeah.
Right. But she doesn't see Luke do anything. Oh, she might. Yeah. Does she see Luke call out to Ben on the Falcon when he's all chopped up? But he doesn't connect, and Ben doesn't take his call.
No. You saw Luke calling him. He's like, I'm going to swipe right.
But like, there's nothing overt that happens. And then
she's like, wait, you talking to Ben Kenobi? Tell him I said hi. Tell him Leia said hi. And he's like, I'm trying to tell him I said hi. Just say.
She's like, I never said thank you. Tell him I said thank you for the rescue mission that resulted in his sacrifice.
Hey, did you get my robot back? Did you ever get my robot back? The one I put in your pocket. Did you get it back? Oh, that's right. You gave it back. I totally forgot. Sorry. Let's get back more into the show. Let's talk more about the show. So they go on this rescue mission. Leia almost gets tortured. Obi-Wan sneaks in. He saves her. And then he's trying to sneak out. We have this awesome scene where he's in this hallway and it's like they're underwater and the windows are cracking. He's trying to hold them back with the Force. And, the stormtroopers are breaking down the door and he floods the hallway. I thought that was awesome. Yes. Great scene.
That was a great scene. Yeah.
Then they're like, well, let's just march our way out of here, out the front door, the way we came. And let's hide Leia under my trench coat, classic. And they're walking out.
Hey, if it ain't broke.
Why fix it?
And they're walking out, and the third sister's like, traitors! And they have this great shootout. That's cool, standoff shootout.
Yeah.
And then some snow speeders come way far away from the snow and behave in a way that I thought was weird. What did you guys think of the snow speeders that could suddenly stop and hover? How do you feel?
Well, those seem like those were the earlier versions, right? They were the T6 models. I think those were the earlier versions.
That's why he's our expert, man. But
it was a concept of what you said of the snow speeders that were in A New Hope. No, not New Hope. The Empire Strikes Back, right?
Revenge of the Jedi.
I'm sorry, Revenge. Truce.
The Empire Strikes Revenge.
Truce at Bakura.
Wow, what a pull! It's one of the only Star Wars novels that I read.
I read a handful. I read 3 of the Timothy Zahns and a Truce at Bakura. Anyway, the second we see these snow spears come in, I thought they flew with inertia. Like, yes, they can float up. Yes, they can float down. But once they're moving, they need to stay in motion. And one of them comes in and like hovers and he's shooting at Reva and she's like, get this shit out of my face. Boom. And like chucks a giant crate at him and kills him. Fucking cool. But like the second that this thing stopped and is like just floating and shooting at her, I was like, bullshit.
But what, like, do you think that about X-Wings and about the Millennium Falcon?
Okay.
Is it something because it's terrestrial?
There are jets in real life that are vertical takeoff and vertical landing, and helicopters can hover. But this is not a helicopter. This is basically like a tractor or a jet ski or.
But it was a tractor a long time ago in a galaxy far away.
Yes. The snow speeder is like a snowmobile. Like, I don't know. I felt like it followed rules more. And like stop and hover is an advanced maneuver that's more like a helicopter or like really fancy ass jets. I guess, but like we've clearly seen ships that can do that. Like I think an X-Wing can do that because they pick up, they fly. But like anything that has inertia to stop like that, I don't think it's even built that way. Like, I'm not even a car guy. I'm not even like a NASA dude. And I can tell you that I don't think that ship is built in a way that can just stop and hover like that. I had the micro machines. I know them, but I know them very well, but they're just.
All we have to say is this is Star Wars. This is all your interpretation. Science goes out the window.
Because if they could stop and hover, fighting the AT-ATs would have been way easier. I'm just saying, they wouldn't have had to come around for another pass. They come in like, stop, spin my ass around, shoot them. Like, they had to keep moving. They had to keep doing passes because of the inertia, because that's how you fly. And
so even by that rationale, even more so, speeder bikes can't, right?
Yeah,
oh, it's true.
Yeah, totally. Speeder bikes.
Speeder bikes just essentially have a off button and 100-mile-an-hour button. There's literally nothing in between.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't, like, the speeder bike has a turn radius, as we've seen. They can't just stop, hover, spin, go back the other. Like, there's a turn radius. There's because of, I don't know, physics. And it's like,
now here's something. Think of this for real. Imagine how you back up and turn around a speeder bike. Can you back it up? Like, could you do a K turn with a speeder bike, or you got to go all the way around?
Well, in Boba Fett, when he was trying to teach them how to ride the speeder bikes, the guy went shot straight back. So I think there is.
You're right. There must be.
I think you can do a 3-point turn, or maybe even
a reverse.
Yeah, or maybe even like a boot turn where you stomp it into the ground.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like, I don't know. Again,
I just want to see someone parallel park a speeder bike. You know.
Again, this is one of those things where, like, you're writers and you go, hey, it'd be cool if these snow speeders like flew in and shot at them, and you're like, that would be cool, but like, we're Star Wars. There's so many ships that can do that. So many ships that we've seen. You don't even have to invent a new ship. There's lots of little tiny ships that you could have done this with. And they were like, nope, I got to stick with the one that's
least probable. I think they were going
probable.
for nostalgia. I think you're right. That probably was an exact conversation that happened, but I think someone was like, yeah, but the nostalgia of, we've seen X-Wings in now the new TV shows. We've seen these ships and callbacks to this type of freighter and yada, yada, yada. They probably were like, this would be cool. And us nerds will be like, oh, snow speeders.
That's the equivalent.
Or maybe they were water speeders.
That's the equivalent of them putting in "Wake me up before you."
Oh, I know. I'm not debating that.
Right into it. Like, if you're doing it for nostalgia's sake, you're doing it wrong. I think I don't know. I just felt that it was you didn't need to do it, and you knew better.
George Lucas, who now has nothing to do with this, but they call you. Kathleen Kennedy calls you and was like, "Listen, we're doing this special edition Obi-Wan episode, Aaron. We need your help. You can only change one thing in that scene. Do you make those things not stop and hover, or do you put snow on the ground? Which one do you do to change it to make it better?"
Different ship.
Not one of the choices. Different ship.
I don't make them stop. Yeah. No, I make them fly. I make them fly like spaceships. They can hover. Like, I suppose you can make them hover on whatever the fuck you want. They're a low ground, flying device. I just don't, they're not helicopters. I don't like the hover. I don't like the hover. I'm sorry. Show, again.
I'm going to have to make a t-shirt about this one day.
Yeah. They're like, nobody will care. They'll just be like, cool, snow speeders. Nobody will notice.
Didn't know they could hover.
They didn't know. Yeah. Yeah. Nobody's good. Yeah. I don't know. Is anybody like, snow speeders can hover? Yes. Like they did nothing for the fandom.
I had the opposite. I was frustrated because for years I played with those Kenner figures and I always had them fly with loop arounds and shit. I would play around that whole time. You know how much time my guys could have saved? There was a lot of rescue missions that did not work out well because of the lack of hovering.
Yep.
Maybe that was that special thing that pilot could do. He's one of the only guys. It's like, whoa, he can make it hover. Look at that shit. And then, like, you would have been
in the visual
so
encyclopedia for Obi-Wan, there'll be like this whole backstory about this guy. He was the only pilot in the Rebel Alliance who was able to hover at T6 snow speeder.
And then he dies.
And then he died.
Fist bumping a mission that was not over yet. He was blown up by a box.
That's the equivalent.
He celebrated too soon.
That's the equivalent of him like lighting up a cigar. He's like, all right, light the fires and kick the tires, baby. Let's get up. What are you doing, dude? But like, if he had survived, Battle of Hoth would have gone way different. Maybe they wouldn't have been jetting out of there, huh? Maybe they wouldn't have been peeling off the sticky note that said Wampa's inside. You don't know.
They all the snow speeders that survived this raid / rescue mission they board a small freighter that then goes to like the big freighter, right? And there's this scene where all the refugees are in there and Obi-Wan and the crew walk out and they're like, "Where's Brian?" And they're all like sad faced. Like, right? Like, remember that part?
Yeah.
They're all like, "Where's Brian?" They're like,
his name is
shake
Wade.
their head.
Wade.
Not Brian. Brian was Beefcake from The Mandalorian that you called with the big armor gun. That's Brian.
I called him Brian?
Yeah.
Man, I need new fake names. All right, so that was Brian. This will be Glenn. Where's Glenn?
This is Glenn. But
And
his real name is Wade.
His real name's
They were
Wade.
like, no. And then they were like, "Man, that sucks. We lost Glenn on this rescue mission." They're like, "Yeah, but you should have seen he hovered." And someone else is like in the corner and they look over, they're like, "With a snow speeder? Shut up." No, he hovered. Like helicopters of what will eventually be helicopters on Earth a lot of years from now. He hovered. Wait, are you telling me his snow speeder wasn't flying with inertia? No, that's what I'm saying.
Now, here's another thing that you could have satisfied my nerd anger with is Reva like holds up her hand and stops him midair, like catches it, and she's holding, he's shooting at her. That would have been cool too. There are ways to get around this without destroying physics and years of fucking spaceship technology. But they escape. The other snow speeder pilot is Maya Ishii Peters, who plays she's in Pen 15, which is a great show on Hulu if you guys aren't watching it. Pen 15 is this show where the woman who was this snow speeder pilot pretends.
Don't explain it to me. I am in the club.
She plays a character, a teenage girl. She and her best friend are teenage girls in like grade school, but they're the only adults. Everybody else is played by children. It's so fucking weird. And like, it's just one of those shows that's like super funny and then also really sad at times. Where like, wow, you're nailing adolescence and it's really sad. But
her name in this show is Sully.
Sully?
So, Sully and Wade. Yeah.
Sully and Wade.
Yep.
And did Wade come back?
The two snow speeders.
No.
Pilots. Yep.
Man.
But even now that so back up even before this whole snow speeder thing, we forgot one really cool important thing about Fortress Inquisitorius.
Hit us.
So Fortress Inquisitorius is this fortress that actually has this Jedi tomb that we didn't know, and Obi-Wan stumbles across it. And we're thinking, oh, what is this thing he stumbled across? And you see these orange, amber looking, I don't know, like display cases, I guess. And he's walking down that hall, and then all of a sudden it pans out, and you start seeing these Force sensitive or Jedi people that are just frozen in this amber. And you're like, oh shit, like they are really killing people and then holding their bodies for a cloning thing, for the rise of Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit.
For Force sensitive blood. And they lead to that there was a couple of them that you actually noticed from the Clone Wars series. There was one named Terra Sanub. He was actually this old Jedi master that was teaching younglings. He kept his lightsaber in his walking cane.
Yeah.
So you have to watch the Clone Wars animated series to see that. Then you come across a youngling who looks like the same youngling that was with Reva. Well, the young Reva that we saw in the opening scene of this of the first episode of Obi-Wan. And he's just frozen. You're like, oh shit, they're actually killing kids and then taking their bodies to extract their Force sensitivity blood.
You think all those people in there were dead, not just frozen?
That's the other thing. We don't know if they're actually dead or if they're actually frozen. But if you were frozen like that, wouldn't carbonite be the way to go, or you still have a heartbeat?
We've already shown a technology that can keep people frozen and alive. You're trying to tell me that snow speeders can hover and amber isn't going to kill people. This is just horse shit. I think it just shows that Darth Vader is a collector and he doesn't like to open his packages.
Exactly.
Keep them in that blister pack.
Yeah, he likes to keep them in mint condition.
Mint. The Emperor's like, do you have a Yoda? No, I don't have a Yoda yet. I have a Yoda. It's mint condition.
Orange and black snake stripe variant.
I still have Yaddle in package.
I'm looking for a long saber version of you. That's awesome. Fucking Star Wars characters collecting Star Wars merchandise.
Hey, it works out, right? Disney's selling more money, more products. So to us nerds like this, we're just, laughing about it. But hey, Disney's making a killing off of us. So more power to Disney.
Yeah, we just keep buying shit. I'll keep buying shit.
Yep. And the smart thing about this scene is when he walks past and sees the Padawan, the youngling, it's like, oh, they are fucking kids up. And this is the moment, like, they're about to torture Leia, and you're like, oh, they're not going to play. Like, they're going to kill her if she doesn't tell. Yeah. And like, that to me is the equivalent of a good tell, like in a horror movie, when you see the axe like bury into the wood and then like it's going to go kill someone, you're like, oh shit, it's sharp. And the show showed its talents, man. It's
exactly
sharp.
Yep, exactly. One more hidden Easter egg. There was a guy that was in there with like kind of robes with a boxy hat. They allude to that guy being one of the Guardians of the Wills. That is taken from Rogue One, which the Guardians of the Wills were protectors of the Temple of Kyber. So in Rogue One, the Empire was stripping Jeddah, which is a planet, of its resources, of which was the Kyber crystal. So they were stealing all those Kyber crystals during Rogue One series. So the Guardians of the Wills were these protectors. Well, that one that was in the amber that they kind of zoom in on too with the boxy hat, he was a Guardian of the Wills, kind of like Chewit Imwa and Baz Malbus, the protectors from Rogue One series.
And they were all like, slept through their training and shit, I guess, because they protected shit. They're the rent-a-cops of the Jedi universe.
There you go. The wannabe cops. Yeah.
Paul exactly. Blart, Jedi Temple protector. Kevin James is a Jedi. That would make a lot of money. You know it would. You know that'd make a lot of money. Yeah, shit, yeah, I'd see it. As long as he doesn't drive a snow speeder backwards, I'll be fine.
That would be cool. Like they just did. I'm not a Star Trek guy, but they have that. I think it's called Below Decks, which is like an animated comedic take on Star Trek.
It's awesome. And
then you have like really into the Harley Quinn series on HBO Max.
Awesome.
That's like, taking that property that's obviously so mature and sophisticated, arguably, but then, making it its own version of that. That would be cool as shit to do with Star Wars, wouldn't it?
There
like
you go.
To make it doesn't have to be mature per se, but to make it funny, to make it silly. I guess you know what Legos are like that. The Lego Star Wars stuff is actually, I guess, pretty close to what I'm describing. That's pretty funny,
and they're wildly entertaining. I love
smart, clever shows.
Yeah, the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special, I thought was very clever and very funny. I thought they did a great job with it. And it's like, it's not canon, so they're going to do whatever they want. And it's like, that's really fun. And it's a smart thing to do. Keep that shit up. I would watch it. I would especially watch it if it was mature, but I know that that's not Disney's vibe, but that's fine. That's fine. I'll take the Lego one. It's all good.
All right. Where are we here? Episode 32, you said? Revenge of episode 5.
So, let's get to part 5.
Yeah, this episode ends with now. Okay, so there's a little bit more. So once they get off in the snowspeeder, they get back to the main ship. Darth Vader comes running in, force freaking holds Reva in front of the chair of the Grand Inquisitor, and is almost about to kill her. And then she goes, "Wait, don't, because I planted a tracker in that ship." And he goes, "You better have." And she goes, "I know I did." And it turns out it's her Leia's robot, Lola. It has the red eyes that is now a tracking device for the Inquisitors. So that's how episode 4 ends. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So then we get to part 5. Part part 5 makes another classic Star Wars mistake that came up in Revenge of the Skywalkers, the second of the Rey trilogy. Anyway, The Last Jedi. It's the slow chase, the slow space chase where they're like, they're gaining on us.
Yep.
And then it's like, wait, just shoot them. Just shoot. Just somebody shoot them. Send out a TIE fighter. I'll shoot them. I'll get in a TIE fighter and shoot them. Just send out a bunch of start TIE fighters and shoot them. Somebody shoot somebody. But it's like they're being chased and they're like, our shields won't hold out forever. Yeah. Man, they're still shooting at us. Man, our shields deflect all power to the rear shields. Man, we sure have a lot of time for dialogue. Like the urgency of a slow space chase is not exciting and it feels weird. So I didn't like that part, but I did like the part where they're like, they're trying to figure it out. It's good. It's good. Fine.
I like, the Leonardo DiCaprio meme of him sitting on the chair pointing. I want Rumi. I want to do that. Rumi, can you make this your face in like an X-Wing pilot costume pointing at the screen?
Although I did fuck it up because that's the beginning of part 6. In part 5,
at least your microphone's working.
In part 5, they're like, hey guys, we need to leave the planet. And they're like, oh no, somebody cut the wires to open the door. We can't get out of this. But it's a cool scene. It's good. I liked it. I love all the stuff that sort of impending doom. One of my favorite things when done well is the nervous calm before a battle.
I agree.
Game of Thrones does that really well. And this did it really well too. Reva's on the planet. She's bringing a bunch of stormtroopers to come attack the sealed off group of the Path, I suppose. What are these people's names? They were the Path people.
It's called the Path.
Wolverines.
The Wolverines. No, it's the Path. It's consisted of Tala, Nedby, Roken, who was played by O'Shea Jackson Jr., which is Ice Cube's son, and one pilot now, Sully, because Wade died, rest in peace. And then, and then Obi-Wan and Leia for the time being. But they're on Jabim. That's what makes up the Path. You also find out that Quinlan Vos, which is another character from the Anime Clone series, that helped out in the Path. But you only see that he wrote something on there, and then Obi-Wan mentions it. But we don't see Quinlan, which would have been a cool Easter egg to see. But yeah, that consists of the Path.
And Leia's like, I can open the door. Let me crawl in there. Like, do you have any experience rewiring giant doors?
What are you, a diplomat's daughter? All right, here, go in here.
Get in there.
Wait, is your evil red robot that was never red before, but is now red? And that was with you when you were in the Imperial nonsense? You have that with you? Okay, get in there.
Make sure that robot isn't cutting any wires.
Yeah. Obi-Wan looks at Mandalorian and is like, is this cool? And he's like, yeah, just let her do it.
He's like, mine can't even talk. I let him do stuff all the time. He just squeaks. The only thing I got to be worried about is him eating other species' children. Just if they're even remotely egg shaped, I got to be real worried about that shit. But otherwise, he's good. It's good. Yeah, just let go.
It's like two parenting styles, right? You have the parenting style that you keep asking the kid to stop doing bad behavior, and there's no change. Honey, please don't eat the endangered frogman's eggs, please, honey. Okay, one more, but that's it. If you eat another egg, you're not going to get dessert. Okay, nope, put it in. Okay, you can eat that one, but then don't eat any more. After that, no more. Hey, please don't eat eggs. And then you have the dad that's like, watch this. My kid's going to crawl in this vet, fix this fucking door. Watch this, man. Watch this.
On Sundays, I take my daughter to the park and I get to see all that shit where it's like you got the parents who are like, there was a dad literally swinging a child younger than my 2-year-old, like this kid. And the kid's like, he's like, quit whining. We're swinging. Quit whining. He's like yelling at his kid.
You could get off when the sling goes all the way around the bar.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, the kid's whining. He's yelling at him. And then there's the parents who are like, where is my kid? You could they're not saying it out loud, but you can tell in their face that they have no clue where their kid is. They're like looking up the slide. They're like, oh my God, this isn't even that big of a playground. You lost your kid already. And then like this last week, there's a woman who was like trying to like gatekeep manage the slide. Okay, you go. Okay, you wait. We had to wait your turn. And the dad was like, "It's fine." No, it's not.
Where's your pass?
No.
Where's your pass?
Yeah. So yeah, they just let him go in, and he's like, "Hey, any competent adults?" And that like sham Jedi's like, "Me, I'm an adult." And they're like, "Anybody? Ned B, you want to get in on this?" And he's like, "No, okay, sham Jedi, watch my kid again."
Sham Jedi. That even sounds like his fake Jedi name, right? Hi, I'm Sham Jedi. Thanks for meeting me in this alley. Give me some credits and I'll heal whatever you want me to do. Sham Jedi.
Sham Jedi. Watching Leia, and he's all like,
Sham Jedi. Now that's a name I haven't heard in a long, long time.
Hey guys,
he's been hiding out on Tatooine under the name Fake Jedi, and nobody knew.
Hey, just so everybody knows, the Launchpad podcast is selling a book called Star Wars Parenting 101. Right now.
Parenting by the ways of the Jedi. Find the fakest Jedi you can. Let them watch your kid. You'll be fine.
Exactly.
So yeah, they get their backs up against the wall. A bunch of stormtroopers come down. Reva is like, "Yo, Vader, I know you're pretty pissed off right now for that whole sneaking into our base thing, but let me go do this. Let me go bring him in." He's like, "Fine, go do it." So he sends her down. She's got all the stormtroopers. She's shooting at the door. They're shooting at the door. It's a ticking time bomb. This is really bad. And Obi-Wan's like, "Let me talk to her. Let me talk to her." And this is like probably one of my favorite scenes of the whole show, because he goes up against the door and he goes, and she goes, and he goes, "Oh my God, you're not trying to help Darth Vader." That's what it sounds like through the door. But I don't know. Maybe they're using the Force, but they can hear each other perfectly. It's well mic'd. They have some good mics.
I assumed that door was like adamantium. It's like nice and thin, but super strong. They shoot the shit out of it. The door doesn't do anything. Yep. But then they're like, "Knock, knock, knock. Hey, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay."
Okay. And she goes, but I love it. He's talking to her, and he's like, "Oh my God, you're not trying to help Darth Vader. You tried to kill him." And she's like, "Yeah, well, screw you too." And she jams her lightsaber through the door, and it's like, "That's cool. That's fucking cool." Yeah.
Cuts the lock off, and no doors open.
Yep.
Yeah. Qui-Gon Jinn sitting in the couch goes,
"Oh." And then this like cool tunnel battle happens. You got Ned B getting shot up, taking one for the team. Tala is in there. She gets shot up, takes one for the team. That's a pretty sad scene. R.I.P. to her. Yeah. What does she got? She got a little thermal detonator.
Thermal detonator. Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
So good. It's a good scene. It's really moving. And just at the last minute, Leia's like, "Oh yeah, my robot has a little thing on it that makes him bad."
Here's your problem. It was switched to evil. Click.
Yeah, basically. No, it had one of those like what the thing that they pulled.
Bolt.
The restricting bolt, but a tiny
restraining bolt.
Restraining bolt. There you go.
It was a cute little restraining bolt. Yeah, didn't need a Jawa to pull it off of him. Wait, does that mean that R5D4 was evil when they got him? And they pulled
restraining bolts. Restraining bolts just keep you from doing shit.
Oh, this one was the evil.
Reverts back to their old programming, right? They don't have a
retrieval boat. Retrieval.
The evil bot.
Estrivo.
Revenge of the restraining
Revenge of the restraining bolt. And she popped that thing.
You all know that if they made a TV show, if they were like, Phase 7 Disney announces Revenge of the Restraining Bolt, we would all be there on opening night on Wednesday watching. I would buy the figures. Black Series, 25 bucks a month.
Yeah. Sideshow collectibles.
Red and black snake orange variant.
So she pops that thing off like it's a booger on the wall and flicks it away. Yeah. Wherever it lands, that thing's evil now. So you better be careful. You
The
know,
door. It lands back on the door.
yeah, the door starts acting like teeth, and and yeah, so they get in the ships. They get in the ship, and Darth Vader's like, "I'm going down myself." That's my Darth Vader impression today.
Man, we are firing on all cylinders here at the Launchpad Podcast.
I'm going down there today. I'm going to do it myself. If you want something done, gotta do it yourself.
Cookies.
Cookie Monster.
And he goes down there, and it's a cool scene. Him storming in, and he's like, Reva, where is Obi-Wan? She's like, I got him right in here. He's like, in the tunnel, or do you have him in a box? You keep him you put him in a jail, right? Like a cage. He's like, nope, just behind this big door to a big room that I have no clue. I don't know. He might be out the back door by now. I just put him in there. Don't worry. I put like 2 guards on him. Darth Vader's like, oh boy, and he,
Oh boy.
oh, me not gonna.
This be bigger deal than I thought.
When me open door, me not going to be happy. And so he storms in there, and sure enough, the 2 guards are dead.
Obi-Wan, not tell you truth about father.
Hold on.
He told me you killed him.
He told me enough. He told me you killed him.
No, me am your father.
That's impossible.
Take mask off. I want to see you with own eyes.
Now he's Mr. Miyagi.
This episode is officially derailed.
Take off the mask. We get to see what Cookie Monster looks like with all burnt off.
Yeah, burnt up Cookie Monster with eyes. Oh my god! Tell sister you write about me. You're right. It is very Miyagi. Rumi tried to do an impression of Darth Vader and got Cookie Monster. I tried to do Cookie Monster and got Mr. Miyagi. Kyle, you try to do Mr. Miyagi and we'll see what we get.
He's going to do a better Darth Vader than all of us.
Oh my god.
So Darth Vader goes in, and the ship starts to take off, and he goes boom and grabs it, and you're like, oh shit. Slams that shit on the ground, rips the door off, and it's empty. And then a second shift goes, and Darth Vader's like, oh damn, they got me with the old like second shift trick. Yeah. You're like, oh man, but like somebody had to set that ship off. Somebody's dead. Like there is at least one other Wilro Hood on that ship who fucking deaded.
Or an R5 or R5D4 robot.
Yeah. But it's a cool shot because I just love seeing him just boom grabbing it. And he's like, man, I didn't get the second ship. Like if he had just put up his other hand,
right. He would have got it. I thought the same thing too.
Well, the best part was that we forgot the whole entire opening scene to this episode was them flashing back to when Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker were training at Coruscant, and they were having that flashback, and Anakin's trying to beat Obi-Wan, but Obi-Wan always outwits him. And that was the whole premises of this episode was Obi-Wan realizes I can't defeat him. I'm going to give myself up, and because there's other ways of beating Darth Vader, not by fighting him.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what he did. He pretty much did the trick behind the back and then swept off in another ship. So,
and it's such. I'm glad you brought that up because that's such a cool scene to see. We get to see Anakin Hayden Christensen playing the part again, and he hasn't aged a day. I bet it's digital, but maybe not. I mean, he looks great. He looks just like he did in the movies, and I thought that was a really cool scene too because you saw him using anger to beat him. He's like, "I beat you, dude, haha," and he's like, "Nope, because I'm still smarter than you." And it's like, "Oh, that's cool. That's clever."
Exactly,
boss.
So Darth Vader has seen them escape, and he's like, "Damn!" And up, creeping behind him, is Reva, and he turns around, fucking grabs her, and she's trying to assassinate him. It was a
Even
great
before
scene.
he grabs her, she comes up for a lightsaber attack from behind, and without even turning, he force blocks it. He might even put his hand up, but he doesn't even do anything. I thought that was so badass because I was expecting there to be this huge duel and blah, 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 which would have been awesome. But I thought it was fucking cool that he was just like, bitch, I knew what you were planning. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
Can I just say something? Why when you're about to go kill the most evil, dark person in this entire franchise, do you go, and then try to hit him? Why would you give him that advantage?
Yeah, she sneaks up on him from like 100 yards away. Like, also just wait till he's in a tunnel, or wait till you're sitting next to him on a car and just go, gotcha.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
She runs up on him and starts screaming, and he's like,
it just seems like that's the going thing in Star Wars. It's like, where's the element of surprise? I'm just gonna scream first, then try to hit him, but then wonder why it didn't work.
Yeah, you can't surprise a guy in a who's that tall. Like, he just doesn't work.
His peripheral probably isn't great, right? Don't you think?
I mean, force assisted. Without that, no. Helmet alone, no way, for sure. So he grabs her, and we get a little exposition. We find out she is the POV that we saw from the first episode. She is the Padawan that Anakin impaled, and you're like, damn, this is cold as shit. And he has her impaled. And it's like, in a cool, flourishing move, he just impales her with her own lightsaber. Like, it's freaking great.
Yep.
And we get, not only we get the reveal that she was the Padawan, we get the reveal that he knew the whole time. And then we get the reveal that the Grand Inquisitor isn't dead. And he's like, and they both have a great laugh. And Cookie Vader's like, and they have a great laugh about it. And they walk off like high-fiving each other. But then, like, I don't know. I try not to think about that too much, because if I think about that too hard, I'm like, wait, this guy's been alive the whole time and you've been letting her do all this shit? Like, where you been hiding that guy? Has he just literally been hiding the whole time? Like, and then like watching her fail? Like, where has he been? Has he been in a Bacta tank? Is Darth Vader letting him use his Bacta tank? Come on over to the house. Me got Bacta tank. It's like, what? Like,
didn't Boba Fett say that to Chrysanthemum or whatever? I owe you a good ride in the Bacta tank.
But I thought that reveal was fucking bitchin'. And the part that we kind of glossed over is Obi-Wan tries to send a message to Bail Organa to let him know that, hey, we got him, but you got to protect the kids, man. You know, the thing that I wasn't supposed to say, I put it on recording. And Reva finds the broken communicator, and she knows there's another child. And she's like, the kids, now she knows. So now Darth Vader.
Yeah, she pieces together the little bit that Bail Organa was saying to Obi-Wan on the responder, that it was a planet of Tatooine, Luke, and Owen. That was the other thing. And she goes, oh, I met an Owen 3 episodes ago.
Yeah, I was almost
gonna kill him. Now I know why.
Oh, yeah, crazy. So freaking cool. That's the end of that episode. Episode 6 starts with that slow chase I tried to bring up too early. I prematurely slow chased, but you know, they're on the ship, and Obi-Wan's like, I have to go face Vader. Everybody's like, no, boo, don't do that. Don't do that.
Leia storms off pouting.
Yeah, she's like, and he's like, man, I'm being a cranky scaredy cat, and we could all use a little bravery right now. Hey, Sham Jedi, you down to watch this kid if I don't come back? He's like, sure thing, boss. And they're like, wait, what? Literally anybody else in the ship could have done this better than you. Sham Jedi's here for the last, so that's fine. That's fine. Ice Cube's kid, he's there. I'm so happy to know that now. Cool. That's way cool.
Yep.
Oh,
he
man.
played Ice Cube in the movie.
I didn't remember. I thought Ice Cube was in the movie. What, you know? I thought it was a documentary. I don't know what's happening. So Obi-Wan's
Straight out of Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's what the movie's called. Straight out of Star Wars.
Straight out of Star Wars.
I was going to say JWA, Jedi with Attitude.
Straight out of Endor.
Of course not.
Straight out of Jabim.
Straight out of Jabim. So Obi-Wan hops in his little ship and takes off, and then Darth Vader's like, follow Obi-Wan. They're like, dude, come on, you're gonna make this mistake. Like in the course of 9 movies, you're gonna make this mistake like at least 2 more times. Like, don't start now. And he's like, nope, fine, I'll go get Obi-Wan. You get them. And they're like,
hey, boss, you listen to me.
You listen to me. So he gets in, I don't know, one of these fake shuttle things that's not quite a shuttle. He should have gotten in his ship. Come on. They could have, that would have had a nostalgia moment where I went, ooh. And then until it, like, I don't know, flew backwards or some shit. But if he had gotten in his modified
X-1 Advance can't fly backwards. It's inertia based.
Are you sure it wasn't a Lambda shuttle that Darth Vader flew into that planet to meet him?
Yeah, he's on the Lambda shuttle.
Obi-Wan.
I'm saying Darth Vader was on like a Lambda of some sort. But I wanted him to be in his advanced TIE fighter thingy, which would have been.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So he's down on the planet with Obi-Wan, and they face off in this epic fucking lightsaber battle. That's cool. Back up on the other plan. They keep cutting back and forth between the slowest chase ever and them like, oh no, our shields are almost down. You're like, you've been saying that for 20 minutes, so I don't believe you. But this fight, come on, how epic is this fight? This is Star Wars at its best, and this is like, I don't know, an epic duel. It is what I wanted the prequels to come to the conclusion of, and we have these amazing moments where they're using the color of the lightsaber to indicate like the colors of emotions, like when the reflection of blue is on Darth Vader's helmet to the reflection of red. Like, it's so fucking cool. Darth Vader basically ruins Obi-Wan with the Force. He's just smashing the shit out of him with giant pillars, big rocks. He crashes him into the ground like Godzilla. It is badass.
Yeah, the opening scene when Darth Vader finally arrives on that planet with the Lambda shuttle and Obi-Wan is standing there with the rock pillars behind him. That was a cool scene because of the fact that Obi-Wan still has the high ground. If you notice, like, got high rocks and Darth Vader's on a flat surface. So that was a cool imagery on that, where Obi-Wan is still showing that he has the high ground and Vader is alone by himself. Or you could parallel it with, he's got all the Force wielders behind him and Darth Vader still has nobody. Anakin still has nobody. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, a lot of metaphors now.
A lot of imagery. And then he basically like buries Obi-Wan and he looks down on him in the pit. He goes, now I have the high ground, and walks away, drops his lightsaber like a microphone and walks off. Bad ass. But then Obi-Wan's like, no, he forces his way out of it, literally and figuratively, and gets some good licks on Darth Vader. And we get this amazing shot of this giant cut down Darth Vader's helmet. You see Anakin Skywalker in there, and we get this line that I just chills down my spine. You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. And then he holds up his red lightsaber to reflect on his face. I did. I was like, oh, fucking cool. That was rad. That was worth the price of admission. That right there is what I came to, I came here to see. That was great.
Right. And I think we talked about this last episode. And we were saying that, Ahsoka, it was kind of the same thing like the Ahsoka in Rebel, where she cut the same exact part of Darth Vader, but on the opposite side. Now Obi-Wan is cutting the mask on the other side. So it kind of parallels those two, his Padawan and his master. And it's that symmetry, which is pretty cool. And then the fact that, he hit Darth Vader in his breathing apparatus. So you hear him wheezing and this dude is still fighting. Then he finally has to jump off a rock and slash him across the head, which then you find out now is why he has that cut on his head when he opens up his mask, when Luke finally reveals that, who Darth Vader looks like. So So now you realize, oh, that's the cut that Obi-Wan left you when he sliced through your helmet. Yep.
See, I didn't even think about that. That's awesome that it carried through till Revenge of the Skywalkers.
See, now you guys are bringing up these really cool canon points, but I'm thinking of really weird shit. Like Ahsoka has chopped through part of his helmet, right? Obi-Wan has chopped through a different part of his helmet, which means he at least had two helmets. Mm-hmm. Then we see him in the original trilogy, and he has at least a third helmet because it's not repaired.
No.
I think the First Order has a lot more budgetary restrictions than the Empire, because Kylo Ren destroys his helmet and then has to glue that shit back together. Darth Vader comes back in and he's like, I need a new helmet. They're like, right away, sir. Yes, sir. Kylo Ren's like, I need a new helmet. They're like, there's glue in the drawer.
He's like the poor kid with broken glasses. He just shows up the next day with tape in the middle.
Tape all on him. Yeah, I think there's glue in the drawer. No, the left drawer, the junk drawer. Look in the back.
Well, it's because Kylo Ren was throwing a tantrum and he broke his helmet. Vader was fighting and got his helmet broken.
Oh,
so there's a difference.
So you think that's like, you got to like bring that to the accounting department and be like, yeah, my shit got damaged. So it's like, that's the same thing. Like if you crashed your speeder because you were driving shitty, they're not going to repair it. But if you get shot down, they'll repair it.
It's like the time I had nerd rage and I broke my Super Nintendo controller. My parents are like, that's what you get. And I had to save up and buy another one.
Sorry, Kylo.
Are you sure you didn't glue it back together?
Yeah. But the time that your friend hit you across the face with a Nintendo controller, they got you new dental work or something. They're like, okay.
Yeah. That was not your fault.
That was on the job.
See, it
worked. And while all this badassery is happening between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, we're cutting back and forth between Reva on Tatooine on the hunt for a young Luke Skywalker, who we finally get to meet. And he's not nearly as annoying as I expected them to make him. So that's good. We get to see that Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, they're badass, which good. I'm glad we get to see them be badasses and not just hard asses. So that's cool. I like to see them like that.
I was like impressed with Aunt Beru. She's keeping all these shotguns and guns inside of a pipe behind a potted plant. I was like, oh damn! It's not Owen Larson that's the badass one. It's actually Aunt Beru that's packing the heat.
Yeah, that's a cool scene. They're like, hey, should we stay and protect Luke, or Luke run into the desert?
I thought that too. I was like, well,
run into the desert.
I don't know if that's the smartest, but okay.
I mean, it worked. I mean, somehow. But like
that same desert has a giant vagina in it that eats men. They're like, just go ahead. Watch out for sand people and sarlacc pits and bounty hunters and swamp rats and dragons.
Yeah,
right.
Just,
all that shit. And they're and also dragons, literally a hole in the planet that will eat you.
Yeah. Just but run. Reva's chasing after him. We have another Star Wars classic trope is the complete we don't give a fuck about space time. We like space is space. We don't give a fuck about the time part. You're like, wait, light speed travel has a mathematical equation that says if you are traveling at light speed, it'll take you this long. And they're like, no, whoa, stop it, nerd. Well, who are you, Neil deGrasse Tyson? Get the fuck out of here. He shows up just in the nick of time. And you're like, yeah, but how close was he planetarily wise? Was he in the same system? And they're like, stop being a nerd. Just fucking watch the show. And you're like, okay, fine. And Obi-Wan shows up in the nick of time to save him. And like, they don't even, like, he doesn't even kill Reva, does he? What happens to her?
No, Obi-Wan didn't even save Luke. He literally was with Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen just calling out his name. And Reva is the one that brings Luke back because she says, I couldn't do it. And he goes, and then she says, I have failed him. And Obi-Wan says, no, you haven't. You haven't failed Luke. And she goes, no, I have failed Darth Vader.
Yeah, she feels bad about it still.
Yeah, and feels bad. But then Obi-Wan tells her, this is your new beginning. Like, you don't have to, follow orders from that. You could start your own thing. And then that's when she drops her lightsaber and walks away. And you're like,
yeah, she's like, fuck, I got to pay for my own helmets now. Also, if my kid was Luke, especially the way he's been behaving lately, if some fucking dark Jedi tried to kill him and it was like, I couldn't do it. My kid would have picked up her lightsaber, cut off her head and been like, bad guy. No, buddy. She was redeemed. That's called a redemption arc. Bad guy.
And then I love the moment at the end where Uncle Owen goes, you want to meet him? And it was like, yeah. And it's like, oh yeah. And he buys him the little speeder. It's so cool.
Yep. The little model T6 plane that he
Skyhopper.
Yep, that he gives to him in A New Hope, or you see him play with in A New Hope.
I bet that thing can't hover.
Luke plays with it like this.
Yeah, he doesn't just go whoop.
I saw like a meme, after that episode came out that says something like, watching this thing, we realized that Leia does X, Y, and Z when she's like 5 years old, while a 20-year-old Luke is making zoom, zoom noises with his model plane in his room.
Pew, pew, pew.
We see him do that, right?
Yeah.
When 3PO gets the oil bath, he's literally going like this. And you're like, what the fuck, man?
I mean,
hey, they always say girls mature faster than boys, right?
She fucking takes down a crime syndicate, blows up a planet, almost kills a Sith Lord. She was busy all before she hit puberty.
Yeah. They were like, she's sass talking Darth Vader while on a reconnaissance mission from the Resistance, from the Empire. While Luke is, I forget, I think they said making vroom vroom noises with his plane or something like it was vroom vroom or choo choo noises with his plane. It's like, that's hysterical. That's what he's doing.
Toot toot is the much better train noise. Only a toot toot. Toot toot. Fucking great. I think overall, despite how it tried to piss me off, I liked it. I really did. That was a good show. I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad you guys made me watch it. You dragged me along for the party. Fucking good stuff. For parting words, Matt, what was your favorite part of the Obi-Wan series?
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I thought it was fun and cool. I don't care. There wasn't, you guys talking about it is making me want to go back and give it a second chance, at least some episodes or some scenes. But overall, I wasn't moved by much of it. I did feel like this was a way more emotional connection than we've seen in the film universe, but in the TV show, they started to build it. And I do feel like all that work pays off in this show. I guess for me, like the idea of the underground in the Empire, that there are traitors to the Empire who are helping the Resistance, and that there is an underground railroad type movement. I thought that was cool. And I don't want to say it's never been done before, because I don't know if that's true, but I know I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen, well, I guess we saw it in Force Awakens with a traitor, but it's cool to see a spy network set up in that. And I would read that book. I'd read that comic. I'd watch that TV show, So I guess go spy network for me.
Kyle, what do you think?
I would have to say it would have to have been the fact that it was Hayden Christensen coming back, reprising his role as Darth Vader after 20-something years, and seeing how menacing he is in all of his scenes. Like, that's the one common denominator, is the fact that Darth Vader always remains to be intimidating, to be scary, and you always feel that presence. You don't feel it's like cheesy or anything like that. And, except for the part where he says no at the end of Revenge of the Sith. But other than that... Revenge of the Revenge. But yeah, no, other than that, just the fact that Hayden Christensen reprised his role, and the fight scenes with Obi-Wan and him were insane. So
I'm glad you brought up Darth Vader was scary. This is as scary as he's been since, the
end of Rogue One, right?
The end of Rogue One. Yeah. That scene where he walks down the street and is literally dragging people out of the house and dragging them down the street, snapping their necks, is like, oh shit. this is why Darth Vader has a reputation of being horrifying, not to be messed with. I love that. I think my favorite part was seeing a story from a point of view of a veteran who lost. Because a lot of times movies like to play things from the point of view of the hero story of somebody rising up and winning. And, that's a classic hero story, but it wasn't until The Matrix that you saw the hero's journey from a person who lost. And now you realize that Luke came from someone who had lost the war. But when we started with the first time we saw Star Wars, we didn't know about the great galactic war that basically the good guys lost. So it's an interesting place and an interesting place to put a character, and especially a character that we know to be a great hero. So I really like that. And then him coming to terms with the death of his friend and his Padawan.
Yeah.
Freaking cool.
I also like Reva was a cool character because we've seen her type of character before, right? But I like that she was not the protagonist. I wouldn't even say a protagonist, but she was a very mainstream not mainstream, but spotlighted antagonist. And they gave her a really good story that we've kind of seen in other things before. It's not anything new. But when she revealed she wanted to kill Darth Vader, I was surprised. I didn't see that coming. And I feel like that read for her character. That actress did a great job playing that, like, I'm ruthless. And we're like, of course you are. You're, a knockoff Sith character. And then she's like, no, this is a means to an end. All this anger is actually aimed at him. And you're like, oh shit, actually that is pretty cool to think about. Yeah. I really liked her journey. I liked her arc. I liked how she interacted with Vader. I like how she interacted with the other Inquisitors. I like how she acted with Obi-Wan. I'm actually I would watch way more of her shit. I would read more comics. I would read more or watch more TV, or I'm on board for that.
A question that I have.
I think that's the hope, right? That they would make more of that in the comics and keep that canon going. So
yeah, but they're going to call it Revenge of the Jedi.
I want to know how long of a con game Darth Vader had with her. Like, is he in the Grand Inquisitors? He's like, bro, I stabbed her as a kid. I brought her up as a Sith. She totally wants to kill me. I'm just stringing her along. Oh my God, she's trying so hard just so she can come try and assassinate me later.
She came into the job interview and Darth Vader was like, is she going to bring up that I stabbed her? And the whole time he was getting ready for that. And she never brought it up. And he was like, all right, let me just see where this goes.
You're hired.
Darth Vader just makes an off comment. He's like, one day she's going to try and stab me in the back. And they're like, whoa. And he's like, no, seriously, because I stabbed her when she was a child. And they all laugh at it. And it's like, oh my God.
One guy doesn't laugh and he's like, that's pretty harsh. And then he drags him down the street, force choking him. When you watch the original movie and that one guy in the Death Star boardroom mouths off to him, you're like, where the fuck did this guy come from? Like, your persistence in ancient religion is what? Who? You're saying that to Darth Vader during a board meeting? Get the fuck out of here, you crazy ballsy bastard! Right?
Whoa, Darth. He's new here. He doesn't know. He wasn't around after the Clone Wars when you were dragging people through the streets. He doesn't know, bro.
Can you imagine though? I would love to see that knockoff or spin-off show where they show that guy as a kid arguing with Anakin as a kid. So then at the end of his arc in that boardroom, he thinks he's just like, well, I'm going to tell Anakin off and it'll be a callback to when he argued as a kid. And he's like, force choke.
And then it's like, now when you look at Darth Vader in the original trilogy, he's letting people off easy. He's just like, he just calls you up on the phone and is like, hey, did you fail? And they're like, sorry, bro. And he's like, cat chokes him out. He's like storms down, walks into your office, drags you out with the force up the stairs, dunk, 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 throws you out an airlock. And you're just like, oh, fuck, I fucked up. No. Now he just calls you. I think it's like he's toned down at this point. Guys, tell us what your favorite part of the Obi-Wan series is. Let us know. Hit us up, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at LaunchpadPod, and our website, launchpadpod.com. Watch that YouTube. Kyle, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at IKnowKSurfer808.
Hell yeah.
Please tell us, everybody. I want to hear from everybody. Do snow speeders hover?
No.
That's a great, I think, title
Great
for a
conversation
podcast.
starter.
They don't hover.
They don't hover.
Anyway.
I think you're right. But for the sake of comedy, I'll debate you. Now I just want to do a whole episode where we try to debunk technologies from like sci-fi movies.
Star Wars.
You know, like just like take random shit. Like can a snow speeder hover? Can a speeder bike back up?
Yeah, stuff that it will never have a right answer. It will just never. Yeah, you can't prove it. I'm going to show up.
AT-AT run. We could have Zeb Wells on for that because there's a Robot Chicken episode or a clip from that. Did you ever see it?
Yes, but when they run, all four hooves are off the ground.
Yeah.
Incredible. Guys, we need to blast this thing off. Let's do it. 3-way blast off.
That was with inertia. There was no hovering.
No hovering in that blast off. Kyle, always a pleasure. We'll have to talk about Andor soon enough. I'm through the first 3, but I need to catch up with the rest. But it's going good so far. Guys, we're the Rocketeers. We are out.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5,
That was fun.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.